Hello, and welcome to Popcorn News. Something to watch while you eat popcorn. Do not try to comprehend it all. Nay, just eat the popcorn. In the previous popcorn news, mention was made of the red team versus the blue team, the exciting contest of this election year. So they just give us constant election this, election that. And that way you'll get all hepped up and be cheering on the red team or the blue team, and that way you're likelier to vote, because if they get less than 50% turnout, they begin to have problems. So they've got to keep you all excited about red team, blue team. But what were these red teams and blue teams? Where did they come from? They came from Byzantium, from ancient Rome, from Smithsonian.com. Blue versus green, rocking the Byzantine Empire. When the spectators at Rome's spectacular circuses split into factions, it threatened to bring the Eastern Empire down. The day was saved by Byzantium's remarkable empress, that was Theodora, but only at the cost of 30,000 lives. By Mike Dash, Smithsonian.com, March 2, 2012. Roman chariot race. Color-themed themes that produced the blues and the greens. Chariot racing, often as deadly as the gladiator contests. Chariot races featured 4 color-themed teams: the reds, the whites, the greens, and the blues, each of which attracted fanatical support. By the 6th century Anno Domini, after the western half of the empire fell, only 2 of these survives. The greens had incorporated the reds, and the whites had been absorbed into the blues. 2 remaining teams, the reds and the blues. No, wait, the greens. The greens are 2 remaining teams, the greens and the blues. Passionate as ever, frequently responsible for bloody riots. There is some dispute. For a long time it was thought that the 2 groups gradually evolved into what were essentially early political parties: the blues representing the ruling classes and standing for religious orthodoxy, and the greens being the party of the people. rivalry between the greens and the blues escalated and spread well outside the Constantinople's chariot racing track. So here's where the sports fans become the political factions of the greens and the blues. And here we have Theodora, the wife of Justinian. She, like Hillary Clinton, refused to play the subordinate role normally expected of a Byzantine empress. This as an aside, The Secret History by Procopius, excellent book. Okay, so Theodora grew up to be a violent partisan of the blues as opposed to the greens. And there we have Theodora. They didn't have the video cameras back then. Okay, so greens and blues, they're having big fights, political fights. But then it got to be so bad that Justinian, he was getting scared. He thought, oh, maybe we better get out of here. There were the Nika riots, 5 days of rioting. Justinian panicked. He wanted to flee. But Theodora refused to countenance so cowardly an act. So what did Theodora do? The blues and the greens assembled in the hippodrome were to be locked into the arena. After that, loyal troops with no allegiance to either of the circus factions could be sent in to cut them down. The Hippodrome Stadium with capacity of about 150,000. The Goths hacked away with swords and spears. Within a few minutes, the angry shouts of the great amphitheater had given place to the cries and groans of wounded and dying men. Byzantine historians put the death toll in the Hippodrome at about 30,000. That would be as much as 10% of the population of the city. So after the massacre, Justinian and Theodora, they regained control, and the Nika riots marked the end of an era in which circus factions held some sway over the greatest empire west of China, and signaled the end of chariot racing as a mass spectator sport within Byzantium. Within a few years, the great races and green-blue rivalries were memories. They would be replaced with something yet more threatening. Theological debate became what amounted to the empire's national sport. The Orthodox battled the Monophysites, and the iconoclasts were waiting in the wings. Byzantium was set on course for rioting and civil war that would put even the massacre in the Hippodrome in sorry context.